Which one is the best graphics card for your needs and your resolution? Well, in today's video, we will find out. I will show you the best graphics cards that you can get for 1080p, 1440p and 4K resolution, and I will also explain to you the level of performance that you can expect with each graphics card, and also as a bonus part, how not to bottleneck your graphics card. So all the links to these GPUs will be down below in the video description. With that being said, let's start. So with the first one, we have the cheapest one on the list in the RX 6600. This is for 1080p high settings and it's going to be able to achieve a really good performance. In fact, I will show you right now the level of performance that you can get, but $190, and after a $10 off promo code is going to be $180, which is an amazing price for this type of GPU. In terms of performance, here you have a test from TechSpot, and on a 15 game average at 1080p with high demanding titles being tested such as The Last of Us Part 1, Cyberpunk 2077, all of these on high to ultra settings. The RX 6800 we can see here, they was able to average 71 FPS, which is a very smooth number considering the type of games that were tested. So honestly, the 6600, in my opinion, it has no competition at the moment at this price point. You can consider the Intel Arc A750, which is going for around the same price, and it gives you about 10% faster rasterized performance. But the thing with Intel is that the drivers are not as well optimized as the AMD drivers, and unless you are a PC enthusiast, I would go with the RX 6600. Then if you have a bit of extra money, you can get the RX 6650 XT, and I will explain to you why I'm not mentioning Nvidia right now. But anyway, for around $50 more, you can get this GPU that will allow you to play at higher frame rates. In fact, you can see here that the RX 6650 XT is about 25% faster than the RX 6600, and if we go to the same test I mentioned before, we can see that the 6650 XT was able to average 85 FPS compared to the 71 FPS from the 6600. So very smooth performance once again, and the 6650 XT is going to give you more performance for a higher price, which makes sense. At this price point, the GPUs that you will see that are brand new have 8 gigs of VRAM, which is going to be enough at this budget level. At 1080p is not going to be an issue, but if you want a more future-proof GPU, you are looking to spend more money, and in that case I would recommend the RX 6700 XT, which has 12 gigs of VRAM, but it's quite more expensive at $330. Now, this GPU is about 42% faster than the 6600 and about 20% faster than the 6650 XT. On that same 12 frame average, as you can see here, the 6700 XT was able to average over 100 FPS on ultra settings at 1080p in high demanding titles. Of course, you have to consider the CPU as well, because if you have a very old CPU that will bottleneck this GPU, you will not be getting the full performance here. In that case, I highly recommend you watching my video on the best complete PC builds in 2024. You will have that one in the top right of the screen for you to see the best complete PC builds with no bottlenecks. Anyway, the 6700 XT, as I said before, has 12 gigs of VRAM, which is going to be helpful not only for 1080p down the line, but also for 1440p. If you want to start playing at 1440p, the 6700 XT will be able to average around 70 FPS. As you can see here, 67 FPS on a 12 game average on ultra settings, high demanding titles at 1440p resolution. So it's still pretty good for 1440p right now, or 1080p down the line. Now, the reason why I did not mention Nvidia is because at the budget level, I don't think Nvidia has the best products. Unless Fortnite is your favorite game, which works better with Nvidia, otherwise I would not get an Nvidia GPU. So if your favorite game works better with Nvidia, then go for it, but otherwise the Nvidia features are not even going to be usable, such as ray tracing or DLSS. So if you are looking for a GPU for gaming, AMD has the better price to performance at this budget level. And if you disagree, you can tell me in the comment section, of course. Next, we have the 1440p GPUs. The first one is the cheapest one, which is going to be the RX 6800. The RX 6800, as you can see here on the 12 game average at 1440p, was able to average 84 FPS, and is about 20% faster than the 6700 XT I've mentioned before, and it has 16 gigs of VRAM instead of 12 gigs, which is going to make it better for 4K resolution. Even though I would recommend this GPU for 1440p rather than 4K, you can play at 4K resolution depending on the games and settings that you play. If you must have Nvidia, then you can consider the RTX 4060 Ti 16GB version, which right now the cheapest one is going for $470 actually, so about $70 more expensive than the 6800, and it's going to perform about 14% slower. As you can see here, the 4060 Ti, even though this one is the 8GB version, both the 8GB and 16GB version perform the same when it comes to gaming performance, so 14% slower for $70 more. That's why I would not recommend you going with Nvidia yet at this price level. But if you must have Nvidia because either Fortnite is your favorite game, maybe you want to do content creation and productivity work and your programs work better with Nvidia. But anyway, if you have around $400 to spend on your GPU and you want to play at 1440p, I think the RX 6800 is going to be your best option. Remember that the prices may change when you're watching this video, so I highly recommend you checking the links in the description for the latest prices. Then if you have more money to spend, I recommend you getting the RTX 4070 Super. This is a 1440p 240 plus FPS on average GPU if you're going to play esports titles, and if you want to play high demanding games, well, on that 12 frame average at 1440p, here we have the RTX 4070 Super is able to average over 100 FPS, so plenty of performance for 1440p ultra settings in high demanding titles, and you get the Nvidia features that are going to be relevant this time, such as DLSS or ray tracing performance. So in my opinion, the 4070 Super is a good GPU. However, you can also consider the RX 7800 XT, which is going for $500 right now, as you can see here, and it's going to give you almost the same amount of performance. As you can see here, 7800 XT, 100 FPS on average, but this is rasterized performance, meaning that the games that were tested with no ray tracing enabled, and that's why I would pay the extra $100 for the extra features from the 4070 Super. The only thing that I do not like about the 4070 Super is those 12 gigs of VRAM, which could be better if it was 16 gigs of VRAM because it would be better at 4K resolution, but 12 gigs of VRAM as of right now at 1440p resolution is not going to be a problem. So in my opinion, go with the 4070 Super, but if you want to save money and get about the same level of rasterized performance, the 7800 XT is going to be an amazing option. And if you want to play easy to run titles, of course it also depends on the CPU, but these GPUs will allow you to play at 240 plus FPS on average at 1440p resolution. Then if you want the best 1440p GPU and you are willing to spend a lot of money, I recommend you getting the RTX 4070 Ti Super, which is going for $830. This one has 16 gigs of VRAM, so it's also pretty good for 4K resolution, and on that 12 frame average at 1440p, as you can see here, the 4070 Ti Super was able to average over 120 FPS, and if you higher the resolution to 4K, the 4070 Super was able to average 70 FPS, which can be even a higher number if you lower the settings to high, or if you DLSS, which is the upscaler technology from Nvidia, which by the way works amazing. I play with DLSS sometimes, especially in a game like Flight Simulator, and trust me, it works really well. The image quality is perfect and you gain free performance basically. So at around this price point, you can also consider the 7900 XT, which is slightly faster in terms of rasterized performance, and it's actually from $50 to $100 cheaper. But just like the 4070 Super, the 4070 Ti Super has more features, and I would recommend you spending the extra money for those Nvidia technologies, especially at this price point. For the 4070 Super, the 7800 XT might make sense for some people, but here you are already spending $800 if you go with the 7900 XT, so you might as well spend $800 and go with the 4070 Ti Super, which is a smaller percentage difference between the AMD and Nvidia graphics card, and the 4070 Ti Super has everything that the 7900 XT has and more. The only thing that is slightly worse at is going to be rasterized performance, but even then they are very similar and you will not notice the difference. By the way, AMD also has an upscaler technology which is FSR, but the quality of the FSR is just not as good as the quality of DLSS from Nvidia, and that's why I also mentioned DLSS as a strong selling point when I'm talking about Nvidia. Then if you want to play at 4K high FPS, I would recommend you getting the RTX 4080 Super or the RTX 4090, which I will mention in a moment. The 4080 Super right now is going for $1,030. You can often see that around $1,100 to $1,150. I do not know for how long this GPU is going to last on Best Buy. You will have the link in the description anyway with alternatives in case you do not see it at this price point, but even for $1,100 or $1,150, which is usually what this GPU goes for, in my opinion, is a nice option over the AMD competitor, the 7900 XTX, and I will explain why. But in terms of performance, the 4080 Super was able to average 85 FPS on this 12 frame average of 4K ultra settings on high demanding titles, and the 7900 XTX is slightly faster in terms of rasterized performance at 93 FPS, and the same thing happens here. I recommend you going for the 4080 Super because of the Nvidia technologies. With the 7900 XTX, you save around $100 to $200, but once again, you are already spending $900 on a GPU, so you might as well spend the extra to get more features. That's my opinion, of course. If you want to save money and get better rasterized performance because you will not be using DLSS or you don't care about ray tracing, then by all means go with the AMD GPU. I just think that at this price point, you might as well pay the premium to go with Nvidia, where instead of spending, for example, $2,000 on a complete PC build with the 7900 XTX, you spend $2,100. So that's going to be the difference for getting better features. And last but definitely not least, we have the RTX 4090, which is going for $1,950 for the cheapest model by the time that I'm recording this video, and different models going for over $2,000, $2,040, $2,050, $2,250. I would not recommend you getting this one because of its price point. But anyway, we all know that the RTX 4090 is the best one in terms of performance in the entire market. As you can see here, 112 FPS at 4K resolution, and it's the best one on the list by far, but it's also the most expensive one. So when I say it's the best one, I mean that it's the best one in terms of performance, not price to performance. If you care about money, then do not buy the RTX 4090. If you just have a lot of money to spend and you just want the best of the best, then you can consider the RTX 4090. Remember, all the links with the latest prices will be down below in the video description, and you will also have my community where you can ask me for personal PC help one-on-one. You can post anything here, any questions regarding computers, and I will answer you. Then you have the deals of the week if you want to see the best component deals of the week. This one is from 6 days ago, so tomorrow I will be updating this list and you can see plenty of discounts for different components that might be interesting to you. And then in the classroom, you have plenty of different videos. You also have a video on how to make money with gaming PCs on YouTube, which is something that I haven't seen anyone doing in this space. So this might be something interesting to you, and the most important part here is that I will be helping you out with your PC, whether you want a pre-built PC or a PC build. I will give you the perfect PC for your budget and needs. So join if you want. It's a new community, that's why we only have 3 members, and that's going to be the top link in the description. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.